A single line in the transfer market can change a club's season, and right now that line reads Euros 100 million. Reports out of Spain tonight say Newcastle United are preparing a monstrous offer for Barcelona's breakout midfielder Fermin Lopez, and what makes the number explosive is the claim they'd also quadruple the young Spaniard's wages to tempt him to St. James Park. For a player who rose through La Masia and has become one of the most talked about midfield talents in Europe, whispers of a move like this are seismic. It's not just a transfer fee on a balance sheet. It's a message about intent from a club that has spent to reshape itself into a Champions League contender. Chelsea and Tottenham are also in the frame, with Chelsea reported to have opened talks and made an earlier approach, but sources suggest Barcelona have been firm about valuations and are reluctant to let one of their own leave unless the right conditions are met. The player's situation looks tightly poised. He's still young enough that Barcelona see him as part of their future, but old enough and accomplished enough internationally, having been in Spain's picture and earning major honours at youth and Olympic levels, that Premier League clubs see immediate value. Behind the headlines, there are several chess pieces to consider. Barcelona's sporting director Deco is said to have met with Fermin and his representatives to gauge where the player stands and to remind him of Barcelona's plans. Newcastle's proposal, if real, would not only test Barcelona's price tag, but also how the player weighs money, minutes, and the appeal of Premier League football. Chelsea's interest complicates matters because Stamford Bridge can promise a central role and a familiar pathway for technically gifted midfielders, while Spurs offer another top-flight project with European ambitions of their own. For Fermin personally, the decision is more than wages. Staying at Barcelona gives him continuity, La Masia's development environment, and a guaranteed role in a team that plays his profile. Leaving for Newcastle would mean adapting to the intensity and physicality of the Premier League, but also immediate riches and Champions League exposure alongside a club hungry to invest and accelerate its project. For Barcelona, the calculus is even tougher. A sale for a truly blockbuster sum would help balance books and fund rebuilding. Yet selling a homegrown creative at 22 risks alienating fans who expect the club to nurture and keep La Masia talent as the spine of the squad. If Barcelona push to keep him, they must show a pathway to first-team minutes that satisfies both player and supporters. If they sell, they must find a replacement. And fast. From a market perspective, a Euros 100 EM approach and a fourfold wage offer would mark another evidence of the Premier League's financial pull and the inflationary pressures on mid to top level creative midfielders. It would force other clubs to ask whether they can compete purely on sporting terms or if money will increasingly be the deciding factor in player trajectory. Deadline week always brings drama, and this story has all the ingredients. A homegrown star, multiple suitors from England, a sporting director in the middle, and a player who must weigh loyalty against opportunity and finances against development. In the next 48-72 hours, the likely outcomes narrow to a few scenarios. Barcelona holds firm and keeps Fermin, Newcastle tables an official Euros 100 bid, and the saga explodes into formal negotiations. Chelsea ups its offer or folds depending on player preference, or a compromise deal with structured fees and buyback clause protections is struck that lets everyone claim a victory. Whichever route this takes, the ripple effects will be felt beyond one player, in transfer strategies, in La Masia narratives, and in the conversations fans have about whether money or culture will define the next era of European football. Keep watching. If these reports are accurate, this window will be remembered not only for a headline fee, but for what it says about where modern football is headed.